Hello and welcome to Wisdom Bites. Hope you're well. Thank you once again for joining us. Very much appreciated. And in today's packed program, I'm going to be looking at the various indicators to give you the overall bigger long-term picture and see exactly what that's telling us for the next 2 to 3 years. I'm also going to be looking at the 60-day cycle as per usual and seeing exactly where we are in the current 60-day cycle and what we can expect within the next few weeks. I'm also going to have a look at the general picture of the current price action and what it's telling us by looking at some of the candlestick pattern developments and what we need to look out for. And finally, I'm going to just introduce the greatest opportunity of a lifetime within the crypto space. It's an opportunity that not many people have actually cottoned on. Most of the YouTubers are concentrating purely on Bitcoin or the altcoins, and they seem to have had a blind side for the greatest opportunity that actually exists out there. And I'm going to bring that to you towards the end of this program. And if that sounds interesting, then without further ado, get yourself a cup of tea, sit yourself down, eyes on the screen, and let's get cracking. But before we begin, the usual polite reminder, please remember everything in my videos is just for educational purposes, so always do your wider research before you make any investment decisions or swing trade decisions. So let's get straight into it, and what we've got here is the BLX chart on the weekly time frame. And what I want to show you here is that I want you to become very friendly with the pi cycle, both the pi cycle top and the pi cycle bottom. So what I'm going to put on here now is the pi cycle bottom here, because it gives you a very good long-term overall picture with the Bitcoin price action. So starting off where Bitcoin first incepted here in 2010, we had this big bull market very quickly. And then we had this mini bear market, after which the price went above the green line. The green line is the 150 simple moving average, as you can see here, and the red line is the long simple moving average at the 471 simple moving average. But this was a clue of what pattern was to follow in terms of the Bitcoin price over the next 12-13 years. So once we came to a bottom here, the price recovered above the green line, mostly here, and then once we cleared it, that was the catalyst to find our way to the top of that market. Firstly in April 2013, and then further on at the end of that 4-year cycle at the end of 2013 there. Once again, it just basically bounced off the green line all the way to the top of that cycle. So that set the tone for the next 2 cycles. And in the following cycle, after topping out in November 2013, we had this bear market here, and then it recovered above the green line one more time. And once again, the green line, the 150 simple moving average on the pi cycle here, kept bouncing off there all the way to the top of that cycle in 2017. So for the second cycle running, the green line provided an amazing level of support. And if we move to the last cycle, between 2018 and 2021, we had a little bit of a hiccup here. However, on the whole, it followed the same pattern. Having topped out here in 2017, we came to a bear market. Once we cleared the green line here, then the market just followed the same pattern until we got into this COVID situation over here. But once we cleared that, that was the catalyst to follow all the way up to the actual top, which was at 64,000. But once again, we had a little bit of a hiccup down here and again followed the green line to the final top here at 69,000. So notwithstanding those 2 hiccups that we got at the COVID situation and the double top link that we got over here by falling below the green line, what can we expect going forward by using this accurate predictor of price action? So here we are, having topped out at 69,000. Once again, we fell below the green line, came up to it and found resistance, got rejected, and then once again, we've been coming back up. Now, having gone above it one more time, we're now finding the same type of support along the way here. So that's telling us that the trajectory of the green line, as you can see, is going to the upside here. So the chances are that we're not going to really come back anywhere below this green line. So that's a good piece of information to know, that the green line, where it is now currently at around about 26.9, call it 27,000, it doesn't appear, based on a historical perspective, for the price to be below 27,000 before it ends the bull cycle at the end of 2025. So between now and then, it doesn't look likely that the price is going to come back shooting down. So for all those people who are still very bearish out there, a lot of YouTube channels still think that this price is going to come back to even below the 15,000. This indicator would suggest otherwise. So in conclusion, what I would suggest is that we follow this pi cycle, the green line, the 150 simple moving average, right up to the end of the bull market, which we expect at this point here, this yellow vertical line. I think this is going to be the one that's going to lead into the top of the bull market, anywhere around here. It can be 100,000, 150,000, it doesn't really matter. The main thing is to follow this green line, a bit like following the yellow brick road. And I think it will serve us very, very well. And people usually ask, well, how do we know when we'll get to the top here? Well, if we then look at the pi cycle top, this was the pi cycle bottom. If we look at the pi cycle top, that has been the best predictive indicator for the tops of all the previous bull markets. So if we go back to the first cycle and put the pi cycle top on here, and the pi cycle top inputs are here. The long moving average is the 350 simple moving average, which is the red line, and the short moving average, the faster one, is the green line here at 111 simple moving average. And what that does is it gives you the absolutely best predictor of the top. So in this first 4-year cycle over here, as you can see, the red line only started at this point because it's the longer term moving average, so it took time for it to start. But you can actually predict this in terms of its trajectory here. So if you take this trajectory down over here, you can see that it was going to cross right at the peak, the first peak we got from the Bitcoin inception here. So once again, this was setting the trend, the pattern for the price action to follow over the next 13 years. So in this first 4-year cycle, we actually got 3 of these crosses. One was obviously here. The second one, the green, once again crossed right on the red line at exactly the peak of the market here. And then the third one was right at the end of the 4-year cycle over here, when the green line once again moved above the red line here. So we got 3 pi cycle crosses at exactly the 3 peaks in the first 4-year cycle. And if we move on to the second cycle between 2013 and 2017 here, once again, having peaked out on this cross of the green and the red line in 2013, 4 years later, the cross happened one more time right on the peak of the 2017 bull market end here at 20,000. And finally, the previous cycle, which ended in 2021, once again at the $64,000 mark, the green line came and crossed above the red line right on the peak one more time. Yes, we got a higher high on the second double top here, but technically this was the actual peak. And this was once again giving us an indication correctly one more time that the peak had been reached. So 3 times in the first 4-year cycle, once in the second cycle, and once in the last cycle. So we've had 5 crosses and we've had 5 peaks, if we ignored this as a peak after it. So ladies and gentlemen, what I present to you today is that you've got to keep your eye on these 2 lines here, the red line and the green line, because we know that when they start moving towards each other and the cross comes along, just like this one and the previous 4 times, and this looks ominous that this is also pointing in this direction. So somewhere along the line here, in this region, this green line is going to cross the red line and we're going to get to our peak. And that would be an amazing opportunity with a high degree of probability that we will have peaked out. If the price goes higher, well, nobody knows the future. All we've got is the indicators on the charts which have given us a historical perspective and this is one of the most accurate indicators. So we will just have to be guided by what we have to play with. Okay, moving on to the 60-day cycle. Some very interesting developments going on here, even though the price is a very boring sideways price action currently for the last 3 weeks or so here. So what we've really had is basically the start of the current 60-day cycle around here, around the 15th of June, and we've just passed the 30 days. So we're now on day 32, as you can see here. And as I mentioned in last week's video, we may well still get a mid-cycle low down here. And we seem to be just hovering just below the green line, this support line and resistance points that we've had along this way many times over here. And we've been following this support all the way currently here. And we'll have a look at exactly what could happen going into this mid-cycle low. But what we are expecting, and this is what I would suggest, just like it's happened in the previous cycles, if we're going to make a right translated cycle now, we need to get above this point here. This was the high of 31.4 just before the midpoint. So for it to be a right translated cycle, we have to get above this point, because now we're past the midpoint here. And then that would give us a catalyst to top out and go into the 60-day cycle low, probably around the support line of this green line here. And that would be around about the 31.5. So basically using this current resistance point, coming back and finding it as a support over here. So this is what I would be expecting. But if we have a close look at this price action, it's telling us why the price is going sideways. So for the last few weeks, when we printed this long-legged doji candle, the top of this was here and the bottom at this point. So this range, I mentioned at the time that these are very powerful candles, and is giving you indecision that people are not prepared to go above this point, and the bulls are not letting the price go below this point here. So what you have is this massive indecision, and generally after a printing of this type of candle, you tend to get a sideways action for a while before something happens and it breaks either to the upside or the downside. And currently what we did get was a fake out over here. So when we did get above this point, it was very quickly rejected by the bears, and we still have an opportunity to go to the bottom of this candle, which is around about the 29,500. But I would suggest we could come back to the top of this candle here, around about the 28,400 here. So just keep an eye on this level here, that should we break the bottom of this gravestone doji candle down here, we could have a quick flush out very quickly, 1 day fall here, before a very quick V-shaped recovery to go into this right translated cycle high before we moved into the 60-day cycle low over here. So anything's possible with Bitcoin, but this is quite a good possibility. But if it didn't break through here, I wouldn't be surprised if we have a very quick move to the upside from here. And the reason why I'm saying that is that when we have a look at the general picture on the weekly chart, that's looking quite bullish. So this is the channel we're in at the moment. This is on the weekly chart, the red channel here. We found resistance here, and the chances are when we come up to this line, so we need to be careful that when we do have a big move to the upside here into the 60-day cycle right translation after the midpoint, it may well top out here at the 34,000. But the general picture over here is that we still have this inverse head and shoulders that we created up to the 25,200 level here, and the range for that from the bottom here to the 25,200 was about a 60%. So this pattern here, which in classical charting is a very powerful pattern which tends to play out if it's at the bottom or the top of a trend. So obviously this was at the bottom of a very strong and brutal bear market that we got in 2022. So the chances are, the probability is that it's going to play out, and the target price would be this range here of the 60%. So if we take the 60% from here at the neckline of 25,200, it takes us to this point here at around about the 40,000. And this is where our target has been for the last 6-7 months. That's between the 61.8 level Fibonacci and the 78.6. So this level, 40 to 50,000, is what we've been talking about for the last 6 months now. And the confluence has been provided for that range by the red line here, which is the pi cycle top, and the RSI smoothed over the multiple time frames, which we've been looking at for the last few weeks now. So these two lines are incredibly critical, and they just happen to fall between our range that we've had for the last many months now, between 40 and 50. And this pattern here, the inverse head and shoulders, would confirm that as well. So anywhere between 40 and 50 is where we're aiming for. Either this cycle, which looks a bit rare now for this to happen, but maybe in the next cycle we'll take it up to this level here. So only time will tell, and no one has a crystal ball. We can see with the Bollinger Bands, and on the daily chart, they're really squeezed together now. So we're really looking for an imminent move anytime soon now. So we got one here, obviously a few days back when it went up to above the 31,400, and we got a fake out here and came right back here. But the Bollinger Bands are still squeezed together, so you should expect an imminent move either to the break to the up or to the downside very shortly, hopefully this week. And obviously we all know why that fake out occurred. That occurred because of the XRP ruling by the SEC that this is no longer a security. And this is exactly what happened here. The news sent the price for XRP rushing from the bottom here at 47 cents all the way by 100% to the 94-95 cents level. And currently we're coming back down and creating this symmetrical triangle from which it's going to have to break. So this is more of a bull flag with a continuation pattern more to the upside, but it's certainly not one I would chase. I'm not into the altcoins. My preference is always for the Bitcoin miners. But if I was looking to buy this, I would be looking for a pullback at least to the 8 EMA here, and that currently is at around about 67. It may not give it to you, but certainly I wouldn't be chasing this. And if I was looking for an entry, I would just wait for the price to come back to the 8 EMA, and that would give you a very good entry at around about the 66-67 cents mark before it went to the upside here. Okay, so moving on, as I said at the beginning of the program, I said that today I'm going to present to you an opportunity of a lifetime. And these opportunities only come around very rarely, and you really don't want to miss them. What am I talking about here? Well, is it about Bitcoin or is it about the altcoins? No, I'm actually talking about the Bitcoin miners. Now, not many people are familiar with the Bitcoin miners because for the past 5 to 6 years, people have focused either on the Bitcoin or the altcoins. And the majority of the YouTubers out there, I would say 99% of them, have focused on those two areas. While the Bitcoin has actually increased by 100% in the last 7 months, and the altcoins have mostly faded away. You got the odd exception like the XRP going up. The Bitcoin dominance is going much faster, so the altcoins are obviously falling. But the smart money over the last few months has been on the Bitcoin miners. And this is why 4 months ago I started the Bitcoin Miners Private Members Club. And let me show you why. So since we bottomed out with Bitcoin here in December 2022 at 15,400, the price for Bitcoin has gone up to the current price at around about 94%, call it 100%. So we've doubled up in about 7 months here. However, in the same period, the Bitcoin miners portfolio that we started here at Wisdom Bites, and nobody on the YouTube has this portfolio. I'm the only one who actually started this because I have such a belief in the Bitcoin miners and the opportunity that it presents itself. And that started on the 6th of January with these 8 or 9 companies here. And at the time, if people have been watching my videos since then, will know that my 2 fastest horses were Marathon and Cypher Mining. And that's why I allocated double the amount on these 2. And then the others all had 10,000, while Marathon and Cypher had 20,000. So for an initial starting capital of $110,000, my target for the end of this year, or call it until the halving in April 2024, was $1 million. And the current value of this miners portfolio, as you can see here, is currently up 312% on the Friday's close. And this was a little bit higher on the Thursday's close because we had a big pullback on Friday. But currently, this 110,000 stands at $453,000 here. So we're well on our way to our target of 1 million. But that's really not the full picture. You may well be astounded by my actual target at the end of the bull market at the end of 2025 that target will not be $1 million, but my target is very realistically between $8 and $10 million. And let me show you why that is the case. If we can get to $1 million here on this Bitcoin miners portfolio by the halving, let's have a look at what normally happens after the halving. So from the halving, this is the red vertical line here, the price action closed at around this price here, around 8,700 for Bitcoin. So from that price to the top at 69,000, where we topped out, the Bitcoin went up by 6.9x, i.e. call it 7x. So there was a 7x increase from the halving to the top at 69,000. If we take a similar picture for one of the major miners that we are very well invested in at the Bitcoin Miners Club, from the same point here at the halving, from 80 cents down here, all the way to $84. And that was 103x. So what that really means is that from the halving to the top of the bull market, while Bitcoin went up by 7x, the Bitcoin miners went up approximately around 103x. So that's a 14x leverage play on the Bitcoin price. So coming back to our Bitcoin miners portfolio, and whatever the price is here at the halving, I would expect a very, very conservative 10x move for the Bitcoin miners. So if Marathon stayed where it is now currently at around about the $18 mark, and after the halving, because we don't know what's going to happen between now and the halving, it may well come back down, and it may be down here at around about $7, $8, $9, $10. We don't know. But let's say it stays where it is at $18 here. And if we just look at a conservative 10x move, which is entirely possible based on a historical perspective. So obviously a 10x move from the $18 would take it to $180. So this would be the minimum I would expect. And a 10x move from the halving would currently take our portfolio from 450,000 to 4.5 million. And if we can reach the target of 1 million by the halving, then that would obviously give us a $10 million target. So anywhere between 8 to 10 is what I would be targeting. Of course, nobody knows the future, and we may end up with 4 million or 5 million or 6 million, but at least we know that the charts are giving us a very good insight into a high degree of probability that we should get to around about the $10 million mark. And only time will tell if we can reach that. But certainly you can see how great this opportunity is here with the Bitcoin miners. And so far, as you can see, the average is around about the 300% mark here. And one of them, Cypher Mining, which is one of my fastest horses between now and the end of the bull market, I still think this has got a long way to go. That is now up by 655%. And considering this is a 14x leverage play on the Bitcoin price, so when Bitcoin goes up by 10%, this is going to go up by, on a leverage play, much more than that. That tells you what the growth opportunity with the Bitcoin miners is. And for the Bitcoin miners members who are watching this video now, and what I'm proposing to do is I'm going to change some of these companies after we have had a correction from the 45 to 50,000 price that we're expecting the correction to come from. So once the Bitcoin price reaches 45 to 50, we'll have a look at exactly where these miners are. These prices should be much greater at that point anyway. So at that point, I am actually going to be taking profits on this miners portfolio. And then once the correction has occurred, I'm going to change these to a different set of 8 or 9. So currently, I am monitoring all the 20 Bitcoin miners and looking at the potential of the top 8 to 10, which are the fastest horses, which I think are going to be taking us the furthest towards the end of the bull market. So if you want to be in on the ground with those types of new companies that I'm going to be putting on here, and I've been monitoring them and I've been presenting them in the special feature section of the Bitcoin Miners videos that we do here on the Wednesdays. And while the people in the crypto space haven't yet realized that the opportunity in the crypto space has actually moved on from Bitcoin and the altcoins to the Bitcoin miners. And this is why I cottoned onto this last year, because this is where I was actually mostly invested. So 4 months ago, I started this Bitcoin Miners Club here. So as you can see quite clearly, at a very low introductory minimum price of $4.99 per month, and I wanted to keep it very, very low in order to reward the early joiners. And what I guaranteed then was 2 videos per month. That was once every 2 weeks. But actually, I've actually done 1 video every single Wednesday for the last 4 months, and I intend to continue to do that. There was no obligation or no contract, and obviously people can cancel at any time, hassle-free. So we've had a very good response with a lot of members having been with us right from the beginning here at such a low price. However, this introductory offer will end at the end of August, after which the price will actually go up. So this is probably your last chance to have a look at what we do on the Wednesday videos, which are exclusively for the Bitcoin Private Members Club at a minimum cost of $4.99 before the price rise. And you can see some of the comments from some of the Private Members Club. You'll see the Private Members Club with these types of stars at the end of them. So when you see any comments by people who've got a star at the end of it, they are members of the Private Members Club. And as you can see, just recently, 3 days ago, Brian here is saying that he's still holding strong. His portfolio is currently 93% gain overall. And another one here, Andy, and he was talking about the second round of the swing trades. We've currently going live at the moment, and he's taken a 50% profit at 1875 on one of the Bitcoin miners. So as you can see, those who joined 4 months ago, they're being handsomely rewarded currently. And what we do is we actually cover a technical analysis of the Bitcoin with the 60-day cycle to understand which way the Bitcoin is trending. And we cover undervalued companies by doing special features. And so far, I've covered around about 6 undervalued companies, most of which have actually increased between 300% and 400%. So you don't have to do swing trades. You can just use the Bitcoin Miners Private Club just for the long-term play. So you basically look at it as a 2-year view and then follow the actual technical analysis that I do over the next 2 years. So we will go all the way through 2.5 years until the end of the bull market and see where you are. Like I say, with my Bitcoin portfolio, I'm expecting an increase to around about the $10 million mark. And 1 or 2 of those special companies that I featured are still presenting an amazing long-term opportunity, many of which I consider are going to at least 50, 60 or even 70x. Obviously this is not financial advice because no one knows the future. I'm just basing everything on the historical perspectives of the charts. So as I mentioned before, we also do swing trades with the Bitcoin miners, and so far we are in the second round of the swing trades, and these are our results so far in the last 4 months. So this was the round 1 of the swing trades that we started in March 2023, and obviously not all the members took these trades simply because it was a new thing and people didn't really know which way to go. So I found quite a lot of people didn't really take part of the trades. But of course, quite a few did, and those who did found themselves with these increases in just the first round. So there was a 37% increase we got in Marathon, and we had 3 trades with that. So we got 37%, 22%, and 52% over the course of the 60-day cycle around that time in March. And then with Cypher, we got a 42%, and on one of the trades, I got stopped out because it hit my stop loss. So we don't always succeed every time. And then with Stronghold, we got a 39% increase, and Hut 8, a 21% increase. But even if you didn't take the swing trades there and just left the money in there until now, then you would have found yourself currently with a 222% increase with Marathon, a 250% increase with Cypher. Stronghold you would have got to 44%, and with Hut 8 you would now currently be up 158%. So for the price of $4.99, the brave people have been handsomely rewarded here, and we still have 2.5 years to go. And these are our round 2 swing trades which are live currently. So we started these trades just a few weeks ago, and the 4 trades that we've got so far, which still have a little bit more to go because we're expecting the price for the Bitcoin to go to a right translated cycle, to go to around about 34, 36. So obviously these figures will go higher then. And the current increases we've got, 53%, 96%, and another 96%. And one of them just hasn't got going. So once again, you've got one of them not doing well, but you've got 3 so far where you basically doubled your price on 2 of them and made a 50% plus on the other one. So these are our round 2 swing trades. So if you join today, you would get access to them straight away. So to join, all you would have to do is to just click the join button here, below all of my videos. And if you've got a handheld device, you would just have to click the one in the description box here. When you do click it, you'll find you'll have a box over here. And as I say, the current price is $4.99, which will increase at the end of August. So you have only a limited period to actually have a look at it and to see whether this is for you. And from September, the price will go up. So if we have a look at some of the prices that some of the memberships cost out there, and these people are not covering the Bitcoin miners, which is the greatest opportunity. So for just covering the Bitcoin, the best known membership is this Bitcoin Live, which has got 5 of the best current technical analysts out there, and they cover just the Bitcoin for a price of $149 per month. And they reduce that if you do it quarterly to $297 per month. So that just seems like a very, very hefty price, and they don't have any swing trading opportunities or even long-term opportunities except for Bitcoin and possibly for the altcoins. I mean, some of the analysts here are really very well known, such as Peter Brandt, Bob Lucas, Big Cheds, Mark Dukas. So it is a very good service if you want to know some analysis and information on how they're thinking regarding technical analysis. Another one, Alessio Rastani, who is very popular amongst a lot of people, and he's got literally thousands of members. And once again, if you look at his pricing, he's offering a 50% off on a 6-monthly membership at $297 every 6 months, which comes to around about $49 per month. So another $50 per month. And if you look at what he's offering, he offers members only discounts on indicators and DVD courses, educational webinars with special guests, and then there's these chart indicators that he's got here. They're not what we call long-term investment opportunities or swing trade opportunities. And certainly he doesn't cover any of the Bitcoin miners. So as a final comparison, one of the other memberships that you have is someone called Optical Art, who's got about 90,000 subscribers. And he's offering stocks monthly of $59 per month. And that gives access to his stock charts only. And this is a recurring plan, so you will be charged monthly, as he says here. And he's offering tutorials at $299 and Bitcoin and altcoin charts at $49. Again, this is something that recurs monthly. So once again, nobody seems to be covering the Bitcoin miners and the amazing opportunity. It just looks like everybody's been blindsided by that. So you're probably wondering what my price will be when the price goes up eventually at the end of August. So from the 1st of September, the price will go up from $4.99 per month to $29.99. And what you will have is the greatest opportunity of a lifetime for the next 2.5 years. So as you've seen from those people who've already climbed on board, they've benefited greatly from there. And if you want to be part of that growing community, you've got about 6 weeks to find out at a very low price of $4.99. But after that time, it will go up to $29.99. Okay, so we'll leave it there. I hope you found value in the video. And if you did, then please do remember to like and to subscribe and to turn on the notification bell. And if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.